even about love. It was about being needed, about being chosen, about proving you were man enough to provide. But Carl Jung warned, people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls. You weren't just falling for her. You were avoiding the truth about you. This is the beginning of the unraveling. The first archetype in the war against your focus, your legacy, and your peace. Her name? The Drainer. And if you don't recognize her early, she won't just cost you money, she'll cost you years. You thought she was a gift. The way she smiled, the softness in her voice, the way she leaned in and made you feel like the center of her universe. She made you feel powerful, desired, chosen. But you missed the signs, didn't you? Because deep down, something in her gaze wasn't admiration. It was calculation. You thought it was love, but it was a transaction. She doesn't want a man. She wants a sponsor. Carl Jung once said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. You didn't fall into this by accident. She didn't just show up. You summoned her. You, the provider archetype. You, who learned from your father that worth is measured in what you can give. You who confused generosity with love. But you never learned to ask the most dangerous question. What does she love more, you or the lifestyle you provide? She wears attraction like a mask, knows exactly what to say. A real man takes care of his woman. You deserve a queen. My ex couldn't spoil me like this. And just like that, your defenses melt. You open your wallet. You fund her illusions. Designer bags, weekend trips, soft life photo ops, all on your dime. And at first it feels good, because giving makes you feel needed. It makes you feel like a man. But the danger with the Drainer is that her appetite isn't just material, it's emotional. She doesn't only empty your pockets. She empties your focus, your peace, your self-respect. And she does it slowly, sweetly. She whispers gratitude until it becomes entitlement. At first she thanks you. Then she expects. Then she demands. Then she resents you for not giving more. You'll hear things like, you used to do more for me. You've changed. You're supposed to take care of me. But what did she offer in return? Attention, not intimacy. Presence, not partnership. Sex, not submission. Words, not actions. And by the time you realize the imbalance, you're too deep. You're financing someone who's emotionally bankrupt. You're investing in a woman who sees your generosity as weakness, not strength. She doesn't want to build with you. She wants to feed off you, and you keep giving, hoping she'll love you more. But she never loved you to begin with. She loved the access. This isn't about bitterness. This isn't a vendetta against women. This is about seeing through the illusion. Jung taught that people wear personas, masks to survive social realities. The Drainer wears hers like armor, a polished, well-curated feminine charm that hides a gaping spiritual void. She's not malicious. She's just lost, conditioned by a world that tells women, your power is in what you can extract, not what you can build. But her brokenness will break you if you don't see clearly. And here's the truth you never wanted to hear. The moment your value stops being transactional, you stop being useful to her. Because in her world, love is consumption. And when your pockets dry up, when you say no for the first time, when you dare to ask for reciprocation, she's gone. On to the next provider. And you'll sit there, confused, wondering how someone who said, I love you, with such conviction could vanish like that. But it wasn't love. It was survival. You gave your all to someone who was never with you, only around you. And now you're left rebuilding, not just financially, but spiritually. You don't trust women. You don't trust yourself. You question your judgment, your worth, your masculinity. And here's where Jung's wisdom becomes medicine. This didn't happen to you. It happened for you. So you could confront the parts of yourself that confuse provision with purpose. So you could learn the difference between being used and being loved. So you could understand that real masculinity isn't about what you give. It's about what you allow. You allowed access without discernment. You tolerated energy that drained you. You ignored the signs because the fantasy felt better than the truth. But now, you're awake. The Drainer isn't your enemy. She's your shadow. The feminine reflection of every unconscious belief you've held about what love should look like. And when you finally face that, when you see her not as a villain, but a mirror, something changes. You stop chasing admiration. You start demanding alignment. You stop buying love. You start building with women who see you. The kind of woman who values your presence more than your provision, who doesn't want to be taken care of. She wants to contribute. Because real love isn't consumption, it's communion. But to get there, you've got to disqualify early. You've got to listen to more than her words. You've got to feel her intent. And if that intent is rooted in entitlement, escapism, or survival, walk away. Because your time, energy, and peace are not currencies for someone else's comfort. You are not an ATM. You are not a fantasy fulfillment center. You are a man with purpose, and your purpose deserves a partner, not a parasite. End the cycle here. Let the drainer teach you what you needed to learn, but don't repeat it. The most expensive lessons come dressed like blessings, and the most dangerous women come smiling. Guard your focus. Watch her patterns. Ask not just what she wants. Ask what she gives. Because a woman who only takes is not a test of your love. She's a test of your discernment. Number 2, the delayer. She'll string you along, drain your years, then ditch you. She doesn't show up looking dangerous. She's not after your money. She doesn't drain your bank account. She drains something much more sacred, your time. And the worst part? She's not even malicious about it. She's just confused, lost, traumatized. But her confusion will cost you clarity. Her indecision will infect your direction. Carl Jung wrote that people don't meet by accident. You don't stumble into a delayer by chance. She appears when something in you is also avoiding the truth. The truth about your mission. The truth about your standards. The truth about the kind of woman you actually need, not the kind your loneliness settles for. At first, she's sweet, mysterious. There's an innocence in her voice. You want to protect her, fix her. She talks about her healing journey. Tells you she's not ready for something serious. But she doesn't want to lose you either. So she keeps you close. Close enough to feel like it's almost something, but not close enough for it to be anything real. You ask where this is going. She says she's figuring things out. You offer commitment. She offers confusion. You give consistency. She gives chaos wrapped in charm. And every time you pull away, she reels you back in with just enough warmth to keep the fantasy alive. I really like you. You're so different. I'm just scared. And suddenly, you're not pursuing a woman. You're playing therapist to her wounds. You make excuses. She's been hurt before. She's got trust issues. She's not ready yet. But Jung reminds us, we are not what happened to us. We are what we choose to become. And this woman is choosing to delay her growth. And yours. Because make no mistake, while you wait, you're not just standing still. You're shrinking. You're compromising. You're betraying your own sense of timing for someone who doesn't even know what time it is. She posts quotes about divine femininity and healing, but can't speak a clear sentence about what she wants. She asks for patience, but never commits to progress. She has enough awareness to talk about her trauma, but not enough discipline to transform from it. You become her emotional crutch, her placeholder, her safe space. But you are not here to be a landing pad for someone who refuses to take off. You are not here to orbit a woman who's addicted to potential, but allergic to action. And yet, you stay. Why? Because you confuse her chaos with chemistry. You think it must be love if it's this hard. You think your loyalty will earn her clarity. But here's the brutal truth. Some women aren't unsure. They're just unwilling. Unwilling to grow. Unwilling to choose. Unwilling to give up the attention they get from you and the validation they get from everyone else. Because the delayer is often emotionally entangled with a man from her past. Or several. You can feel him in the room when you talk. You hear the ghost of him in her stories, and yet she swears it's over. But emotionally, she's not yours. She's still feeding memories. She's still trauma dumping in her group chats. She's still playing emotional dress-up in a mirror made of past heartbreaks. And you're the one paying for what another man broke. You show up with consistency. She responds with ambiguity. You offer stability. She gets bored and picks fights. You move with direction. She says, let's not label things yet. And somehow you accept this, because she sprinkles just enough softness into the mix. She cries in your arms sometimes. She says things like, "I've never felt this safe." You mistake these vulnerable moments for connection, but they're just coping mechanisms. You're not her future. You're her emotional rehab. And if you stay too long, you become her mirror. You start hesitating. You start second-guessing yourself. You get used to waiting, used to adjusting, used to performing. And worst of all, you lose momentum. The dream starts collecting dust. You compromise your purpose to preserve her presence. Your standards erode slowly, subtly. Because every time you try to lead, she resists. Every time you try to define the relationship, she reverts. Jung warned us, people attract what they most need to heal. If the delayer is in your life, she's showing you something. She's a reflection of every part of you that's also afraid of choosing. Maybe you like the drama. Maybe your ego likes being the fixer. Maybe you're not as ready as you think you are. Because if you were, you'd walk away. You'd stop trying to convince someone to be ready for the future you're already building. You'd realize that clarity is peace, and anyone who refuses to give it is stealing your power. The delayer isn't evil. She's just not aligned. And you're not here to waste time in maybes. You're here to move with vision. So let her go. Wish her well. But don't wait for her to heal enough to love you the way you deserve. That's not noble. That's self-betrayal. There is no legacy in limbo. There is no future in maybe. A woman who wants you, truly wants you, won't leave you wondering. Disqualify the unclear. Protect your timeline. Because your mission deserves a woman who moves in rhythm with your purpose, not one who dances in circles around it. And your peace? It's too valuable to rent out to someone still deciding if they're ready to love. Number 3. The distractor. She'll turn your purpose into an afterthought. You weren't weak. You were just wide open. Hungry for something real. Something alive. And then she walked in. Energy like a lightning bolt. Voice like music you forgot you loved. Danger wrapped in desire. You called it chemistry, but what you felt was chaos. And it felt good, until it didn't. The distractor doesn't steal from you in obvious ways. She doesn't drain your money like the drainer. She doesn't waste your years like the delayer. No, she comes for something far more sacred. She takes your discipline, your focus, your sense of mission, and she does it without even trying. Because the distractor doesn't need to manipulate. You hand it over willingly. Because when you met her, you were tired. Tired of the grind. Tired of being strong. Tired of feeling alone. And she showed up like a vacation from your responsibilities. Laughter, spontaneity, sex with no soul. And for a moment it felt like living. But that's the illusion. She doesn't awaken you, she numbs you. She's not fire, she's smoke. Carl Jung once said, man needs difficulties. They are necessary for health. But the distractor offers the opposite, escape. And you welcome it. You skip the gym to chase dopamine. You blow off your projects to follow her vibe. You trade momentum for moments. You start calling chaos passion. And by the time you realize you're lost, you've already wandered off your path. Because this woman doesn't build with you. She burns time with you. She lives for the now, and drags you down with her. No vision, no direction, just vibes, vanity, and adrenaline. You used to wake up early. Now you're waking up next to someone who drains your clarity. You used to guard your time. Now you give it away for sex, noise, and the illusion of connection. And the worst part? You know better. You feel it. Every night you stay out too late. Every time you cancel something that matters for her spontaneous plans. Every time you choose her body over your vision. You hear that inner voice screaming, "This isn't it," but you silence it, because she's exciting. She makes you feel wanted. And for a man starving for validation, that kind of affection is a drug. But understand, the distractor's attention isn't real intimacy. It's distraction dressed as desire. She wants a thrill, not a future. She wants a vibe, not a vision. She wants to play, not build. And that's her nature. She's not pretending. She's not even hiding it. You just don't want to admit what she really is. Because admitting that means confronting what you've become. A man who traded purpose for pleasure. Because this woman isn't here to partner with your highest self. She's here to feed the parts of you that are still undisciplined. The parts that crave escape. The parts that haven't yet learned to lead, Yourself without needing emotional highs. Jung would call this your shadow, the part of the psyche you repress yet attract in others. You didn't meet her by accident. She is the manifestation of every part of you still addicted to distraction, still afraid of consistency, still trying to fill the void instead of facing it. And here's where it gets deadly, because the distractor doesn't destroy you violently. She destroys you slowly. You laugh more, party more, sleep in, fall behind, start missing the man you used to be. She never asks about your vision, never challenges you, never makes you feel like a leader. Because to her, you're not a man, you're a moment. And the second you start getting serious, the second you bring up structure, values, long-term growth, she checks out. Oh my God, you're being so intense. Why can't we just enjoy the moment? I don't want anything heavy right now. Because love to her is light, weightless, reckless, untethered. The moment it gets real, she evaporates. You think she left because you were too much? No, she left because you woke up. And waking up is what the distractor can't handle. Because once you see her clearly, the spell breaks. You remember what you were building. You feel the ache of wasted time. You see how far you've drifted. And you realize something Jung hinted at all along. The enemy isn't out there. It's the part of you that allowed her to stay. You kept her around because she kept you numb. Because discipline felt lonely. Because the grind was exhausting. Because chasing purpose didn't come with applause. And she did. But now you remember who you are. Now you reclaim your mornings. Now you put your mission first again. And that's when she starts calling you cold. Says you've changed. Says you're no fun anymore. But this isn't about fun. This is about focus. You're not here to be fun. You're here to be formidable. A woman who truly loves you won't pull you off your path. She'll walk it with you. She'll push you when you're weak. She'll sharpen you when you forget who you are. But the distractor will never do that. She doesn't want to grow. She wants to feel. And once the feelings fade, so does she. So let her go. Stop mistaking chaos for chemistry. Stop calling dysfunction depth. Stop sacrificing your legacy on the altar of lust. Because no matter how good she looks, no matter how fun she feels, like if she costs you your purpose, she's too expensive. Reclaim your fire. Guard your mission. Let the silence teach you what the noise tried to hide. You don't need more attention. You need alignment. And a woman who aligns with your purpose, she's not a distraction. She's a multiplier. Number 4, the deceiver. She'll make you a father to a child that ain't yours. She calls you king. Says she's ready to build, ready to settle, ready to be your peace. She mirrors your language, adopts your values, quotes submission, faith, femininity, everything you thought you wanted, packaged perfectly. But beneath the surface, a strategy, not love, leverage. She isn't offering you a partnership. She's drafting a contract, unspoken, unseen, and if you miss it, you'll sign with your freedom. Because the deceiver doesn't come to break your heart. She comes to trap your future. And once you're locked in, she'll rewrite the rules. You'll go from lover to liability, from king to cash cow, from chosen to cornered. Carl Jung warned, people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul. The deceiver is the master of this avoidance. She doesn't want to build a life. She wants to borrow one. And if you don't see through her mask early, she'll hand you a reality you never agreed to. One that comes with court dates, custody battles, and a child that might not even carry your blood. Let's make something clear. This isn't about the sacred duty of fatherhood. This isn't about stepping up. This is about deception. Deliberate, calculated, cold. She didn't want a man. She wanted a plan. And you were stable, disciplined, present. You looked like security. You smelled like a retirement policy wrapped in masculine flesh. So she moved carefully, played sweet, played soft, played traditional, but not because she believed in it, because it worked, because she knew what you were hungry for. Loyalty, peace, legacy. And she gave you just enough to make you let your guard down. That's when it starts. The rushed intimacy, the pressure to move fast, the accidental pregnancy that was never quite accidental. You thought it was love. You thought you were building something sacred. Then one day you ask for a DNA test. and the mask slips. Now you're toxic. Now you don't trust her. Now you're trying to ruin the family. But it was never a family. It was a setup. And deep down you knew. There were signs, inconsistencies in her stories. Whispers of exes still around. A sudden rush toward commitment after months of uncertainty. But you ignored them, because the dream felt too good. You finally felt chosen. Finally felt like the man you always wanted to be. Protector, provider, patriarch. But the deceiver doesn't choose you. She chooses what she thinks she can extract. And once she's got what she needs, you become a resource. Not a partner, not a lover, not a leader. You become a name on a legal document. Now you're in court defending yourself, paying child support for a child who might not be yours, watching her flaunt vacations while you fund her lifestyle. She's not broken. She's brilliant. This was the design all along. And here's where Jung's psychology hits hardest. The deceiver is a woman completely cut off from her authentic self. She's not in touch with the divine feminine. She's fused with her shadow, disconnected from conscience, addicted to outcomes. And when a woman becomes that, there is no guilt, only goals. You are not a person to her. You're a position. And what makes her dangerous isn't that she's evil. It's that she believes she's right. She believes she's owed comfort, owed provision, owed stability. No matter the cost, you'll try to reason with her. You'll try to co-parent. You'll try to stay calm. But reason doesn't work on someone whose entire playbook is built on manipulation. She'll weaponize the child, rewrite the history, paint you as absent, abusive, unfit. Whatever narrative gets the sympathy she needs. And even when you finally walk away, scarred, wiser, she won't stop. She'll keep the mask on for the next man, play the same role, run the same pattern, because she's not evolving, she's surviving. And you'll either stay stuck in anger, or you'll transform. Because here's the hard truth Jung would have whispered in your ear. You let her in, not because you're foolish, but because you were unconscious. You thought loyalty meant silence. You thought love meant sacrifice. You thought peace meant tolerating red flags in pastel colors. But from this pain comes awakening. And awakening means this. You will never again ignore your intuition. You'll stop chasing femininity that's only skin deep. You'll stop believing submission without action. You'll stop settling for a woman whose womb is sacred but whose spirit is corrupt. Because legacy isn't just about having children. It's about who you have them with. It's about what energy you bring into the next generation. It's about being deliberate. You are not just a man. You are a portal for future lineage. And who stands beside you shapes not just your life, but the lives of your children's children. So guard your seed, guard your signature, guard your name, not out of fear, out of reverence. Because while the deceiver plays games with paper and law, you're building something eternal. And a woman who's truly for you, she doesn't fear paternity tests. She welcomes truth. She honors covenant. She multiplies your peace, not your problems. You've seen the mask now, the illusions, the traps. And now you choose differently, because not every woman is a wife. Some are warfare, and some lessons don't come cheap, but they come with clarity. My final thought to you, you are not here to be bitter. You are here to be brilliant, to lead, to protect, to build, with a woman who aligns with your vision. Disqualify early, move with discipline, guard your name, and build your legacy on purpose. Before we end this video, I want you to know the psychology of danger. When femininity is a disguise, she didn't break your heart, she broke your focus. She didn't ruin your life, she mirrored the parts of you that were already undisciplined, already unhealed, already unsure. Each of these women, the drainer, the delayer, the distractor, the deceiver, they weren't random, they were reflections. Carl Jung warned us again and again. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. So no, brother, it wasn't just bad luck. You called her in, with your hunger, with your wounds, with your lack of self-knowledge. But now you see, and once you see clearly, you can no longer blame her. Because this was never about her. It was about you, the leader asleep at the wheel. The man chasing softness instead of substance. The man with a crown but no castle, with seed but no standard. These women are not evil. They are archetypes. Manifestations of chaos. Feminine energy unanchored from truth. Untethered from values. And you're not just a man. You're a gatekeeper. To your bloodline, to your mission, to your name. Because in the end, it's not just about who you attract. It's about who you allow, who you enthrone. You let the wrong ones stay too long, you pay with time, you pay with reputation, you pay with your soul. But when you learn, when you sharpen your discernment, when you finally hold the line, that's when everything changes. Because the man who knows his purpose doesn't fall for pretty lies. The man who's rooted in legacy doesn't chase emotional highs. The man who's whole doesn't mistake red flags for romantic tension. He sees, he tests, he leads. And when he loves, it's not from emptiness. It's from overflow. So remember this. Not every woman is a wife. Some are warfare. Some are warnings. Some are simply mirrors showing you the places where you still need to rise. And when you finally do, when you build that inner fortress, she won't just be beautiful. She'll be aligned. She'll be peace and power. Soft and submitted. Feminine and focused. Because like attracts like, and the healed man, he draws what he is, not what he lacks. So let the past women go. Not with bitterness, but with gratitude. They were the test. Now you're ready for the covenant.